We must stand together. It is an honor to be born at this time. It's not worth it if it's not a struggle. Our lives, our glory in the next life, has a pretty high price. And it's not just us going to work and doing great things. That's not a high enough price. It's to do the right thing when the world is against you. To stand because it's the right thing to do. I bring you great news. I see Christians all around the world that are standing not because they want anybody to convert, not because they want to baptize, but because it's the right thing to do. They're standing for the first time. It's an amazing thing. I just got back from the Vatican in Rome last weekend, where I met with monsignors and cardinals, and I said to them, "You're under attack." I don't speak Italian. I don't speak Spanish. I barely speak English. And I stood in a room and everything was translated. And the only thing I heard every time I was introduced and we started to talk about, and I said that I pledge I stand with them. He said, "I am a Catholic today." And every time I said that, one of them, the cardinal, would look at the translator and say, "Catholic?" No, Mormoni. I'm a Mormon. I like Mormoni better. It sounds kind of like ice cream. Then I would talk to him about anti-Semitism. And that we need to stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters. When we all stand together. When somebody is coming after the Catholics, the Mormonis raise their hands and say, "I'm a Catholic too." And when somebody's coming after the Jews, I raise my hand and say, "I'm a Jew too." They can't kill all of us. What is happening, I live in Dallas now. I recommend it. I was here last week before I went to Rome. And I chose to stay, which I can't get out of New York City fast enough. Because I wanted to come here because what was happening in New Jersey, what is happening here in Brooklyn, what is happening with the food co-op here, where they are actually seriously considering a boycott on Israel. When you firebomb a synagogue, when you set cars on fire, when you push swastikas and paint them on the walls, what are we turning into? Who are we? I don't even recognize my own country anymore. This is not who we are. This is not what righteous people do. Evil is growing because people are asleep. And they're being put asleep by using words like, I'm just anti-Israel. I'm just anti-Zionist. Anti-Israel, anti-Zionist is anti-Jew. It's anti-Semitism. by the way, that's not my quote. That's a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King. Maybe the people on the left should remember the words of one of America's greatest heroes. What's going on in the world right now is not about the banks. It's not about land. It's not about resolutions. It's not about fairness. It's not about the settlements. It's about evil, and it is about hatred, pure and simple. And I have seen it grow with even fans of mine. I had a caller to my show a few weeks back that said, all the Jews, we should get all the Jews, they're causing the problems. They shouldn't live here. Oh, really? Well, should they live in Israel? No, that's the problem. Wait a minute, I thought you said the problem was here in America. Well, it's just the Jews. Well, where do they go? I swear to you, he paused for a second and then said, Madagascar. Did you even come up with Madagascar? 109 times. 109 times. We as Americans have a unique responsibility. Here in New York, with the Statue of Liberty, what is her name? The Mother of Exiles. Give me your poor, your tired, your huddled masses. What does that even mean? That means give me the people that nobody else wants. We have a responsibility. The White House talks about a responsibility to protect my eye. We have a responsibility as citizens to protect. The flame in her torch is imprisoned lightning. Lightning comes from God. All we have to do is stand in His shadow. Stand where He tells us to stand. Be better than we are today, tomorrow. We are all brothers and sisters. I have read about conflict. I have read about Martin Luther King. I have read about Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Most people don't even know who Dietrich Bonhoeffer even is. And they don't know who he is because he failed. But he was the first Lutheran in Germany to stand up, the first minister to stand up. They took him off the air. The day that Hitler took power, seized power, he was giving a sermon on radio called the Führer Principle. He said it was wrong. They took him off the air. That man survived. He went down swinging. He survived until 15 days before Hitler killed himself. He fought and fought and stood and stood. As I tried to figure out how to stop the madness, I have looked at the people who have tried to do it before. I couldn't figure out why Dietrich Bonhoeffer failed. Until I went to Auschwitz. And I met with this wonderful, righteous Gentile who had saved her family and her about 500 Jewish people. She was a teenager. She was out in the street when you could when Jewish people were not allowed to have more than 250 calories a day. And her neighbors were wasting away. And the young girl stopped her and said, "Please, I'm starving." The law was, if you fed the Jew, you would die. And not only you, but your whole family. She said, "Come back tomorrow." She went to her parents, and her mother put on a big pot of soup. Paulina met the young girl with a bowl of soup the next day, and she had brought friends and family. The family knew what the right thing to do was, and so they did it. 500 people, they say. We spent the afternoon in Poland. And after we finished recording an interview, the two of us left. And I said, "Paulina, the greatest sin is that there's not a forest, of trees that are planted in Israel for the righteous among the nations. We are all born with that righteousness in us. I sense trouble is coming again. How do you water that righteousness?" She told me two things. One, God. The people must turn to God. They must believe in something bigger than them.